70 WOCA.
Ocala.
All right, 25 minutes before 10 o'clock. Thank you for tuning in. Let's see. Half of the equation of men and women is represented by me, because I'm a man.
Yep.
The other half is represented by you, because you're a woman. And so from a man's perspective, I've often wondered, why is it so important for us guys to find pretty? Why is pretty so important? Why, right? And biologically, you know, they will say, well, it's because I guess pretty means healthy, healthy means childbearing, and that's always the answer to that whole thing, right? But the truth is, when you first see a young, well, it doesn't have to be young, but when you first see somebody who you're interested in as a guy, it's probably part of a sex drive associated with that, even though in society we don't like to say that, right?
Right.
So I want a companion. I want somebody. I don't like being alone anymore. But what you're really saying is, I want to have somebody to hook up with, right? Then love develops after that.
Yeah.
I guess, you know, or maybe you're working with somebody and you never were attracted at all, but you're just really getting along. And next thing you know, you're finding yourself thinking about her or him. And I don't know what it's like for a lady. You'll have to explain this to me one day, Robin. But we have on the phone some people who may have hit on it. I can't really say the title of the book. I'll just tell you it's F Love.
Yep.
You fill in the blank. Dr. Michael Bennett, very interesting book. He's a board-certified psychiatrist. He's a Red Sox fan, it says here, Robin.
Yes, he is.
And Sarah Bennett is his daughter, correct? And Sarah is a monthly sketch comedy show writer. Oh, that explains some of the funniness in the book.
Yeah, she's great.
And the book is called F Love, and it's F. What is then the asterisk CK Love? One shrinks sensible advice to finding a lasting relationship. Let's find out about this. This is a good time of the year, right? Valentine's Day coming up.
It's even got the red cover.
Good morning, Dr. Bennett and Sarah Bennett. Good morning to both of you.
Good morning.
Morning.
Sarah, how comfortable was it for you to write this book with your father?
Well, you know, the good thing about my father's approach is that it is very funny, obviously, and never very personal. I mean, most of this advice isn't about the kind of stuff that makes your skin crawl in the presence of your parents. It's about looking at whether someone's reliable, whether someone is trustworthy, whether they have good credit. You know, it's not like having to be 13 and sit through an R-rated movie with your mom and dad. So, in that way, I was spared the worst of it.
But that's a hard pill to swallow for a lot of people. It's like, what? You want me to look for somebody with good credit? That sounds like I don't know. That sounds like somebody, that's not an 18-year-old thinking. That might be a 30-something-year-old thinking. I don't know.
Oh, well, hopefully, though, an 18-year-old isn't thinking about marriage. You know, this is a book mostly for people that they might be trying to figure out what they're looking for, or they really want to find someone to marry and maybe have kids with, and they keep dating losers, and they want to figure out, they want to, as my father would say, be their own smart matchmaker. You know, figure out what they really need to have a long partner. If they're, in high school, they're trying to figure out what they want to begin with, and hopefully just trying to find someone to see a movie with Friday night. Hopefully they do not have marriage in mind, please.
I'm curious to hear your answer and Dr. Bennett's answer to this question. I think we all know when we're in love, but how do you know when you actually love somebody? What is the litmus test for that? I mean, you love your children. There's no question about that. You love your parents. But how do you know when you love somebody as a partner?
Well, if you can, if you're still working with them and you still really want to see them and want to talk to them and want to lead your life with them and make decisions with them and take care of problems with them, love, it grows. It just, they become more and more important to you. I don't think it's necessarily a powerful high, but it sure enriches your life and makes you feel like your life has more meaning and that you have one another's backs.
Does the title imply that we shouldn't worry about love?
You got to worry about the loving feeling, as powerful as it is and as wonderful as it can be, when it clouds your common sense. You got to do a lot of common sense screening to find a good person. You can fall in love with really bad people. It's so easy. And so many of the divorces I see later on in life have to do with bad choices up front, things that aren't going to change. Everybody knew they weren't going to change, but love conquered all.
You know,
Got to be smart, and it's hard to do it when you're in love.
Sarah, sometimes people who are comedy writers have this very amazing ability to see the truth and tell it to us, and we laugh at it because it is true, right? And one of the things that I've heard some of the female comics say, and maybe it'd be somebody like Amy Schumer or I can't think of the names right now, but they will say things to make you think, okay, well, this guy is handsome, but he's not husband material. So, and I'm in love with him, but the husband material is not as good looking. Do you find that to be true?
Well, yeah, that's one of my favorite lines, I think, from Trainwreck, where she talks about how she likes this guy, but he isn't, a great sex guy or something. And her sister says, yes, but great sex guy will end up in prison.
That's exactly right. Yeah, that is where it's from. You're right.
Yeah.
I forgot where it was from. Yeah.
Yeah, I think, and it's true for men as well. There is something very exciting about people that are very intense and emotional, because, my dad's a shrink, and so is my mom, actually. I think of those people as not being attractive, but being diagnosed with borderline personality disorder. So when you are attracted, and men, over the years, I've had many male friends say, oh, why are all women crazy? And it's like, because you are attracted to crazy women, like so many men are. The woman who comes up to you in a bar, and she's so intense, and she's so into you, and she's so, she's like the manic pixie dream girl stereotype that used to be in movies all the time of, let's, go up on the roof and go skinny dipping. But then you got to be careful, because a week later it could be, you ruined my life, I'm setting your car on fire.
Right,
Yeah,
right.
And the female equivalent is the guy who's super hot and maybe a little dangerous and blinds you to the fact that he doesn't have a home. He lives on his friend's couch. He has
Yep.
he's on a credit red list for the rest of his life. Both men and women can get very distracted by these very exciting, sexy qualities that will ruin you if you don't quickly realize, oh my God, I'm getting sucked into the void and I have to run for my life now.
And so you just demonstrated my point that as a funny person, you're able to show us the truth and make us laugh at it at the same time. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Because people have a lot of feelings, and sometimes you just are with somebody and you've got these feelings and you don't know exactly why, but you don't want to analyze it. You just want to follow through with them.
Yeah, and that's what sends them to my dad. They want him to analyze them, and they're saying, "Why were you such a dummy?"
Oh, so
Except with the four-letter words that I can't use that are on the cover of our books.
there's another word. There's a part in here. Did you know truth or BS? I'll just say the BS word. So that happens a lot too, doesn't it? Where you're talking to somebody and you don't know. Okay, I can tell you stories from when I was a younger guy, and I'd be with a friend, and he'd be hooking up with these women in a bar like in no time at all, and I would say, "What? How does that?" Oh, I told her I was an astronaut. You told her, and she believed you. Mm-hmm. So I say to myself, I don't think the women will believe in it. I think they just like you, but the line gets them into you.
Yeah.
I'm an astronaut. So that would be truth or BS. You have to know the difference, right?
Well, yeah, I think that in the same way, we have a section on, are they really looking for men with a sense of humor? Is that really the most important? Because women say that all the time. And I think they don't like that guy because they think he's an astronaut. They think that he's funny. And not funny like comedian funny, but funny like he can laugh at himself. Because when women say, I want a sense of humor, they're not saying I want a comedian, because Lord knows I know plenty of comedians who can't get laid to save their lives. What they're saying is, I want a guy who won't flip out when things go wrong, that won't get angry quickly, that won't, try and hit me or scream at me all the time. If he is humiliated or slighted by life, he's going to laugh it off. He's going to be able to roll with the punches. So if there's a guy, and especially if they're drunk enough, who's like, yeah, I'm an astronaut, they're like, this guy's funny. Yeah, I'll go make out with him in a corner.
And Doctor, you really bring out some really valid points in your book. In fact, you do contradict some things that we've been hearing all these years. You do say it is okay to go to bed angry.
Well, there's so many things that they can't be resolved easily in an argument. And nighttime is when you're most tired and more apt to say things you're really going to regret and aren't going to do any good. So I think most married couples, unless they have a very, very lucky relationship, know that it can happen. You can have disagreements that are never going to get resolved, and that's all right. And if you do address them at night, it's going to be trouble. So you have to get used to falling asleep with some pain in your heart sometimes, and suck it up for the sake of your dedication to a marriage and making the relationship as good as it can be.
And odds are, when you wake up, you'll realize that a lot of what you were fighting about really wasn't that important anyway. You'll be glad you didn't try to hash out something that was kind of silly, that seemed like a big deal when you were exhausted.
In your practice, doctor, do you work with people who are married a couple of decades already and they've kind of got it figured out, but they're just going through a few bumps in the road, or is it mostly younger people or people not yet in relationships, or is it all of the above?
It's all of the above, which is what we try to cover in the book. It sort of evolves, but the thing that really inspired it, I think, is the divorces, the people whose marriages were falling apart because of things that could have and should have been foreseen right at the beginning if they hadn't been so clouded by love. If there'd only been a good matchmaker, either a professional or in their family or if they'd only listened to their own experience and held back. Because divorces are really horrible, and those are the situations where, as a therapist, people are hoping that you can repair it, but you can't. The choice was made, and you can't. There's so much about people that you can't change.
And then sometimes one partner will have this ongoing career and the other partner is home raising the children, but probably working as well. And then the one partner that has this amazing career, once the children are growing, the other partner needs something else in their particular life. And then all of a sudden the marriage ends up getting rocky and dissolves.
One of the best examples of that was a recent documentary on Warren Buffett that I saw on TV the other night, about how his wife had reached that point. They had a wonderful marriage, but she couldn't see herself as sitting in Omaha waiting for him to come home, and then he'd just go into the library and read. Mm-hmm. But they loved one another very much, so without giving anything away, they reached a very respectful accommodation.
Wow. And that's something.
Well,
gosh, and you must have helped him with that.
I want to know how that was.
Decision.
All right,
this is wonderful.
We are up against the break, so let's take the break and make it as quick as we can. It's a good interview, and I'm loving the conversation. The website is, according to this, fxckfeelings.com. Is that right?
That's right.
Okay, fxckfeelings.com. The book is called F Love, and you have to remember the U in the F word is an asterisk, I guess you call that. We'll take a little break. Dr. Michael Bennett and Sarah Bennett are our guests, and they are the authors of the book. We'll be right back.
The weather is brought to you by myfwc.com. Safe boating is no accident. Areas of low clouds and fog, followed by some sunshine this Monday. The high 76 to 80. And Monday night will be partly cloudy, low 54, and then 60 along the coast. For Tuesday, a mix of sun and clouds, warm and more humid with an afternoon shower around, high 78 to 82. For Wednesday, clouds and sun and very warm and humid, high 80 to 84. From the Florida Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Joe Lundberg.
Are you in need of custom screen printing, embroidery, or promotional items? Then look no further and come visit the brand new Legacy Team Sales. LTS is conveniently located off 17th Street next to Armstrong Homes in beautiful Ocala. We offer the best prices and highest quality products for your company, team, school, or nonprofit. Whether looking for screen printed shirts, embroidered polos, or travel team uniforms, you'll be sure to find it at Legacy Team Sales. Come visit our new 27,000 square foot facility. Our friendly and knowledgeable sales staff will assist you in every part of your custom purchase. LTS carries the hottest brands in the industry like Under Armour, Russell, Mizuno, Asics, Badger Sports, Gildan, Pacific, Ogio, and many more. At LTS, screen printing embroidery is done in-house and we guarantee customer satisfaction. Stop by, give us a call, or check us out on the web at shoplts.com. Remember the name, LTS.
Say, are you looking for a special outing for your club or group? Bring them to Bob Wine's Camellia Gardens in Ocala during their Camellia Show Spectacular. This is truly an event that's not to be missed. Acres and acres of gorgeous blooming camellias, hundreds of trees, thousands of blossoms, and it's all free. Call Bob Wines or check their website, bobwinescamelliagardens.net. And be sure to check out this week's unbeatable garden buys, like a huge selection of spring veggies, not $3.99, just $2.99 in the jumbo 4-pack. Roses, Bob's got them. His best double red knockouts, regularly $24.99 for just $19.99. And he's got a super closeout on drift roses, just $12.99. Huge selection of blooming hibiscus, many colors, just $14.99. Bob Wine's Camellia Gardens, Southeast 38th Street, just east of Lake Weir Avenue, open daily till 4, Saturdays till 2, in the same blooming place since 1952.
Come to the 4th Annual Habitat Strawberry Festival on March 4th, 2017 at the McPherson Government Complex. The festival's goal is not only to have vendors, food, a car show, a kids zone, live entertainment featuring One Flight Up, a lip sync competition, police versus fire department pie eating contest, and all things strawberry. But to also raise funds to build a habitat home for a family in our community. Check out the website, habitatocala.org, and follow the link. The Habitat for Humanity Strawberry Festival is March 4th with breakfast served at 7:30. Free parking, free admission.
All right, 8 minutes before 10 o'clock. Thank you for tuning in. We're having a good conversation with Dr. Michael Bennett and Sarah Bennett. They are a father and daughter, and they wrote the book called F Love, One Shrink's Sensible Advice for Finding a Lasting Relationship. And I want to make sure that the listeners have a better understanding of what the book is about. Are you guys on a book signing tour? Are you heading out of town?
Exactly.
It's very brief, though. We'll be here in Boston, which is, my hometown where my parents still are, then in Brooklyn, and then a couple dates in L.A. And we also were in New Hampshire over the weekend, which was a lot of fun, even though the day before I had a terrible stomach bug and was still seeing double. So if anyone is listening who is in southern New Hampshire, thank you for your patience. I realize you're not, but still, I feel like I should write them all thank you cards after what I put them through.
I think the one thing that I picked up from the book also is, and this is a thing cringeworthy for a guy, because so many men, and I guess because I am a man, will speak condescendingly. The whole, what's the new thing people say, mansplaining, the whole mansplaining thing.
Yeah.
It is an interesting phenomenon when you hear it, and at least we're being made aware of it. And if I've ever done it, I'm sorry. But I think it's a natural. I think men do it to men too, by the way. I don't think it's just men to women. I think it's just a thing. We like to explain things even though we know the person understands it already.
Yeah, I mean, I know the essay that articulated that was, I forget exactly who it was written by, but it was a man who was trying to clarify what an article was about, that it turns out that this woman had written herself.
Oh, no. I didn't know that.
So it's not just the explaining, it's the sort of assuming that they're more of an authority than the woman who was talking.
Right.
And, Doctor, you also bring up the fact about dying alone, because sometimes when couples divorce, they're afraid that the other one is going to die with nobody.
Which is a good example of the way fear and and loss put very, very negative thoughts in your head that can feed on themselves and make you feel like such a loser, or that your life is becoming less and less meaningful. When, of course, we all die alone, but we try to build up a good network of friends and supports, and if we're lucky to find a good partner, that's part of it. And if we're not, we do other things to make our lives meaningful. So the big deal is dying with pride that you've done what's right for your personality and the people around you to build good relationships and be a good person.
You know, it's interesting. If you look around the world, you see societies that have arranged marriages. And in our world, we're just all on our own. I mean, you get to a certain age and it's like, oh, good for you. Go find somebody. And there's really no guide or book on how to do that. In a way, this book sort of does that. It gives you some common sense on how to approach people. But I don't know. The hormones sometimes speak louder than words.
Oh, yeah.
Well, this is how to be your own matchmaker. I mean, some of us are lucky to have had family or friends do it for us, and that is so helpful in screening out really bad options. But if you don't have that, or you're working on the internet, or your life in the big city, you have to do it yourself. And the principles aren't that difficult. You just have to be disciplined and ignore your lust, your love, your longings, and just do what you have to do.
Or just teach yourself, if you're old enough, to remember what happened in the past when you just followed lust and longing, you know?
Yeah.
A lot of us, and that's what we're asking readers to do, use your own experience, especially negative experience, because if you want to avoid being hurt again, sometimes it was just bad luck, sometimes there were red flags that you really could have recognized. So think, what were the red flags? And then, especially if you've been through something really painful, it's easier to put the brakes on hormones to remember, yeah, but the last guy like this ruined my credit. The last woman like this left me unable to get out of bed for a month. You know,
the last guy wasn't really an astronaut.
Yeah, exactly.
And this is really marvelous because you don't have to read your book from cover to cover. You can jump in any place and use whatever it is you've written to address your current situation.
We made it that way. Each quality is something that can be very attractive and also could be dangerous. And what we're telling you about is how to check out that quality. If that's what's attracting you, that's great. But look for the dark side. Know how to look for it, and don't really let yourself go until you've had the time to check it out.
Well, if you're approaching Valentine's Day and you do not have somebody who's going to send you a Valentine's card and you wish you had an angel on your shoulder kind of guiding you as to how to find somebody who might be that person, the book will serve that purpose. I have a copy of it right here. If you want it, call me and we'll put your name on it. It'll be waiting for you. The rest of us have to go buy it. It is called F Love. Actually, it's called F-CK Love, and it is at the website fxckfeelings.com, which, by the way, that was your first book, wasn't it, Doctor?
It was. That was our attack on convention, and self-help books began with that.
Okay.
I love your quote from Bustle, 7 reasons telling your feelings to take a hike. I think that's pretty awesome.
Well, thank you.
Well, thank you.
Many people come to see me and they want to talk about their feelings, and it's a revelation to them that that's the last thing they should talk about.
That is amazing.
I went to the website, 5 Things to Consider Before Changing Career Tracks. There's also an interesting article right there on the first page. Thank you both for being on the air with us. Good luck with everything. If you're ever down in Florida, we'd love to have you in the studio.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks for having us.
All right.
We enjoyed it.
We will be right back. This is WOCA.
You deserve a little getaway, so WOCA and Red Roof Inn are going to give you one. Throughout the month of February, tune in to AM Ocala Live, especially at 50 minutes past the hour. Why 50 minutes past the hour? Because Red Roof Inn now has over 50 Red Roof Inn Plus locations with new upgrades and amenities to make your stay great. And we're giving some lucky listeners a free night stay at any Red Roof Inn around the country. All you have to do is listen for Larry and Robin to tell you to call. So tune in and win from WOCA and Red Roof Inn.
This is James Snyder, inviting you to join me each Sunday morning at 9:30 for Sunday Joy on 1370 AM, 96.3 FM.
96.3 FM.
Broadcasting from the Paddock Mall Studios, this is WOCA, Ocala, Gainesville, The Villages, 1370 AM, 96.3 FM, The Source.
Fox News Radio, I'm Pat O'Neill. 6 p.m. Eastern, the deadline for the administration to file legal briefs in efforts to have President Trump's ban on travelers from mostly Muslim nations reinstated. White House spokesman Sean Spicer tells Fox and Friends the president has broad powers to do what he did.
He utilized that power in a very legal, constitutional manner to ensure that we are safe. Our people are safe, our country are safe, our institutions are safe. And it's somewhat sad to see a judge go rogue like this.
That federal judge halted the ban last week. The Senate due to act soon on more of the president's cabinet picks.
4 cabinet confirmations are being sought this week. The most contentious of those, Jeff Sessions as Attorney General and Betsy DeVos as Education Secretary.
Fox's Gurnell Scott. While quarterback Tom Brady helped the Patriots beat the Falcons in last night's Super Bowl, he lost his game jersey. Team owner Robert Kraft's suggestion to Brady, you'd better look for it online. Fox News, we report, you decide.
Heavy rain this morning causing backed up traffic all the way to
Please
Isaac.
remove all laptops and
Folks, we're number 9 on the list for takeoff, so settle in, keep those seatbelts fastened.
Want fries with that?
Welcome to Westin. Travel can be disruptive to your well-being. That's why at Westin Hotels and Resorts, we have rejuvenating heavenly beds, a nutritious superfoods RX menu, and a workout gear lending program to help you stay in control and rise above it all. Westin, let's rise.
Napa know-how.
When you grab a pair of Bosch Evolution Beam wiper blades, now $10 off at Napa, you'll have the confidence to tell Mother Nature to bring it. Bring the rain, snow, sleet, the almighty all-powerful El Nino, and even more rain. Because with Bosch Evolution wiper blades, now $10 off when you buy a pair, you'll show the weather who's really the boss. That's Napa know-how.
Napa know-how.
At participating Napa Auto Parts stores. Offer expires 2/28/17.
Today in Florida Ag News from the Southeast AgNet, we have our weekly Commissioner Spotlight.
I'm talking with Florida's Commissioner of Agriculture, Adam Putnam. Commissioner, I've heard you say that kids with proper nutrition perform better in school. Is that true?
It is true. Good nutrition and physical activity are directly linked to our children's academic success. That's why, through our department's School Food and Nutrition program, we're working to improve the nutritional value of school meals and encourage healthy and active lifestyles. Recently, we announced that 30 more schools earned the Healthier U.S. School Challenge designation for their efforts to create a healthy environment for our students. In fact, since I took responsibility for the state's school nutrition program, the number of Florida schools recognized has grown nearly tenfold. I'm proud of Florida schools for helping our students make healthy choices that lead to academic success.
Thanks, Commissioner Putnam. For Commissioner Spotlight, I'm Gary Siemens.
You know this guy. He's the one that walks into the coffee shop to join his buddies with a little swagger, a little puff in his chest, and just itching to tell everybody about his latest yield. And that's because he started with Black Label Zinc. He discovered Black Label Zinc and its proprietary LHC technology can drive amazing root masses and even better yield potential. It's his little secret. Or was his little secret. Black Label Zinc. It's phosphate done better. See your local CPS retailer today.
The USDA's Natural Resources Conservation Service has a program to reward and encourage environmental stewardship for ag and forestry producers. The Conservation Stewardship Program, or CSP, is voluntary. Applicants must be USDA operators. CSP participants will adopt new conservation practices and manage existing ones. For more information on CSP, visit nrcs.usda.gov or call NRCS. Helping people help land.
Randall Wiseman, Southeast AgNet.
Dan, did you know that the runway at Ocala's airport is nearly 8,000 feet long?
Why, no, Brad. I did not. Please, tell me more about said runway.
Seriously, it's a big airport.
Yeah, I kind of knew that. So what's your point?
Well, just that most people don't even realize there's an airport, much less one that's big enough for Air Force One to land.
And
that Ocala Aviation is based at Ocala International Airport.
So why are you telling me?
So that you can help me get the word out that Ocala Aviation has a fleet of airplanes and it's here for them to learn to fly.
And how do you propose we get said message across to so many people at once?
We should put an ad on a good radio station, but yours will do.
Very funny. Well, what do you want to say?
That we offer private, instrument, and even commercial training, all right here in Ocala. They don't even have to go anywhere else. They can do it all right here.
Nope, never work.
Well, then give them the number to call with any questions.
I can't even remember your number.
Yes, you do. 861-7484. How hard is that?
Okay, I'll call you next week and we'll get it started.
Can you remember the number this time?
Yes, 861-7484.
Call me.
5 minutes after 10 o'clock. Nice looking Monday. Hope you're doing well. I wanted to share an experience with you regarding renewing my driver's license.
Okay.
Because I did this last week. See, so my driver's license will expire. Well, my old driver's license would have expired this Wednesday.
Yep.
Because it's my birthday, and that was that expires. Also, my vehicle registration expires on the same day, of course. And I've always renewed my driver's license. Well, since the internet, anyway, online. Mm-hmm. For this time. I'm pretty sure. I'm trying to remember now. I thought they told me I had to show up in person. And a couple of people have told me, no, you could have done it online. Mm-hmm. Well, I don't understand something about that. If I could do it online, how would I have proven my birth certificate? So here's what happened to me. Mm-hmm. And it was smooth. It was everything was fine except for one thing. So I was told I had to have my birth certificate, and I was looking up online to see when do you need to show up in person to renew your driver's license, and I'm not clear about that, so I don't want to tell you something. In-person driver's license renewal. So I needed an original birth certificate.
Yeah.
I had the birth certificate. I had the birth certificate that my mother has held since I was born. Mm-hmm. And it was clearly one of those old photocopies where the text was in white and the paper itself was in black. Because remember, back in those days, photocopies were reverse.
Right.
Okay. So it clearly was said, this is a copy on the bottom. It was very, very old paper, 62 years old to be exact. Okay. And so you knew right away that it was a copy, and you knew right away that the original was maintained and kept at the hospital where I was born in New York. Okay, so they insisted on an original. So I scanned the one I had because the paper was so fragile, and I brought the scan into the Department of Motor Vehicles here on 200 at the
Jasmine Plaza.
Thank you. And the young lady looked at it and she said, we're going to need the original. I said, well, this is exactly the same as the original. And she said, no, the original will have some security features on it. And I said, in 1955, they put security features on things?
Yeah, right.
And she said, yes, they did. Okay, well, I looked at it. Oh, I didn't see anything embossed. I didn't see any, and they didn't have the electronic embedding back then, and I don't even know if they do now. There was no, anyway, so obviously there was no QR code back then.
Right.
All right, so I had to drive home, which was only 15 minutes, and then I had to drive back. So about a half hour extra it took me to get the whole procedure done, and I brought her the same one I was just describing to you from my mother, from 62 years ago. Mm-hmm. Fragile paper and everything. So she looks at it, and I can tell that she knows this doesn't look any different at all. There's no security features on it.
No.
There's nothing.
Mm-mm. Nothing.
So
paper was thicker.
I guess the only other thing I would have had to do would have been to contact the hospital in New York and say, can you send me one with some kind of a stamp on it that shows certified? Mm-hmm. Well, fortunately for me, the young lady figured this is probably as good as it's going to get.
Right.
And she photocopied it and put it in their records. And I thought to myself, now you have exactly the same thing I handed to you when I walked in here, 40 minutes ago.
Right, exactly.
And I thought, okay, well, they're just doing their job, and I'm not picking on them, but I'm just trying to figure out, why is the state of Florida suddenly wanting all this detailed information? Because it wasn't just that.
No.
Then I had to have my original Social Security card. Mm-hmm. And I said, I held on to it for a very long time, but I don't know where it is anymore. Mm-hmm. So she said, well, do you have any proof of your Social Security number? So I had a pay stub. Mm-hmm. And she said, well, that's not good enough. And I said, well, it says so online. It says online I can use it. And
you told her the website to go to because they weren't even familiar with that.
So I went online right now. It says you can use your a Florida voter registration card, and I had my voter registration card with me. Mm-hmm. You could use your Florida vehicle registration or title, which I had that with me too.
Yeah.
And by the way, it's $48 as well. I had my W-2, and of course I had a paycheck stub. So one of them, I guess, worked. he finally said, you don't need your, okay, we'll use this. So it was kind of like pulling teeth to get them to say, go ahead. One document to prove your Social Security number, such as a driver's license from any U.S. state. You would think that the one I just handed them, the old one, right?
Yeah, was from Florida.
Should have worked.
Yeah.
And if you've changed your name because of marriage or divorce, you need that certificate, which fortunately for me, that doesn't apply.
Right.
But for you ladies, if you've been married or divorced, you have to have that paper.
Yep.
And so I'm a little bit curious as to this. So it was $48, and online, it says online, renewing your Florida driver's license online is the most convenient option. But it does not say anywhere in here that you need your birth certificate. But anyway, so it was just one of those situations that if you're up against a requirement to renew your driver's license, make sure that you have what you need. Otherwise, you're going to be driving home to get it.
Exactly. Check it all out first.
So my other one, the photo on my other one, the one I just turned in, I mean, that must have been 20 years old. It really, I had that one for so long.
Well, you had to take an eye test too. I don't know how you can do that online.
I know.
You know, an eye test
I don't
online.
understand. So there must be a certain point in your driver's license history where they're going to say, okay, you cannot do it online this time. You have to come in. And I'm looking for the rules online. I'm at the website, dmv.org/FL. And so, anyway, I just thought I would share that with you. Good morning. You're on the air.
Hi, I'm Robin and Larry. Kathy, and here's what I just renewed mine. It's renewed for 8 years. I did it online. Didn't have to worry about any of that birth certificate stuff or anything. Went through smooth as could be. If I'd had to go the birth certificate route, my original hospital would not have worked. I would have had to write to Wayne County, Detroit, Michigan, you know, and get a looks like you do a Bureau of Vital Statistics at the health department. I would have had to go through all that and then pay for it and blah blah blah.
Right.
But they don't require all that when you do it online. That's what's so crazy to me. It's inconsistent. If it's so important to have a birth certificate, why can you easily do it online without one? I mean, it doesn't make any sense.
And that's what
that's what works.
Okay, and I'm wondering, I can't remember, I'm wondering if I got a letter that said you cannot do it online in this case.
I didn't. I just had a letter that was due and how much it would cost and a choice of online or in person. And I did it online, and so I didn't have to write to Wayne County, Detroit, Michigan.
Yeah, really?
I'm like, thank you, God. You
Really?
know?
That would have been $50 probably to get a certified copy.
But maybe 8 years from now you'll have to do that. I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't know.
Right now, I'm just happy to be.
So how old is the photo? How old is the photo on your driver's license?
8 years would be beyond that, I guess. Beyond about 8 years old.
At least 8, huh? I know mine was 20 years old. At least 20.
Wow.
Because I like that. I looked younger then, so I like that.
Yeah,
so
me
that,
too.
That works.
I look horrible now on my new one. Yeah. I look pretty good on my old one. Yeah. All right. Thank you, Kathy.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
So, I guess I'm only telling you so that in case I don't know. I'm sure that I would have done it online if it said I could. I think.
Right.
I think every once in a while they say maybe that's at random. They just pick certain people. Okay. Or who you say you are. You know.
Right. Exactly. But no, they document uploaded online that you have to present in person.
I don't know.
It's the only way to keep everybody who they say they are honest.
It's a moot point, I guess, to have somebody in here from the Department of Motor Vehicles to interview them.
For sure.
Good morning. You're on the air.
Yeah. Good morning. Good morning. It was. They told me when I had to go through that business to renew my license that it was only needed one time. You won't have to do it again in 6 years, or whatever the term is.
So
once they have it, they have it.
Okay, so you had to bring in your birth certificate also.
Yeah, but they told me I don't have to do that with the next time.
Oh, okay. Well,
Wow,
hopefully
nice.
I won't either. I'll be 70 next time.
Wow.
Whoa.
Yeah.
All right.
And now an interesting thing kicks in when you reach the age of 80. They make you take an eye test every 2 years.
Yeah, well, that's good.
With an optometrist.
Oh, really? Okay. Well, that makes sense. By then we'll all have self-driving cars. We'll be fine.
Oh, that's right. We don't.
Yeah. There you go. Yeah. We'll to get it on with Uber drivers.
Thank you, Jim.
Okie dokie.
Appreciate
All right,
the
have
call.
a good day.
But it is interesting how she was insistent that in 1955 that we had security what'd she say now? Security,
Yeah, security technology.
whatever she said.
Security codes.
Yeah, I can't remember what she called it now. But I there was nothing.
No.
There's nothing other than maybe an embossed stamp, but that didn't even have that.
Mhm.
You could tell. It didn't even have a flattened out one.
No, But the paper was thicker and it was smaller in size than the 8.5 by 11.
Right,
And
right.
it's original.
All right, let me take one more call, then we'll move on to the next thing. Good morning, you're on the air.
Good morning, Larry. How you doing today?
Good.
Listen, in New York City, I was born. Were you born in the city or in New York State?
In the city.
Yeah, well, there's a thing in New York City, because I'm born around the same time as you. They have a raised seal on the official birth certificate. You can get copies, but you have to go to the Bureau of Records in New York City to get that raised seal, which is probably the biggest nightmare I ever had to go through.
Oh, really? Oh, wow.
I don't even think, if you do it by mail, I think that's just a joke. I don't think that'll even happen. But I had to do it for something else just recently, and I had to go down to Lower Manhattan to the Bureau of Records.
Wow.
I was born in the Bronx to get this raised seal on a birth certificate, and it was literally all day, just waiting on it. It's like that Geico commercial where the woman goes to the motor vehicle and they just say next. That's how it was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I also think the state of Florida they say is the biggest area for identity theft. So maybe that's part of the reason why they're doing this.
Yeah, maybe. Well, maybe there's another Larry Whitler out there somewhere. They just want to make sure it was me.
Well, I don't know about that. I know there's a lot of guys my name. There's about 2 pages of the phone book in New York City with my name. But
oh my God.
But I think it really has to be identity theft. A lot of people that get their Social Security numbers. So your Medicare is based on Social Security numbers. So you need that, and boom, you got everything you need. You know how many people are cleaning hospitals that see that little thing on your medical paper there, right?
Right, sure. All right, thank you for sharing that. I'm glad I didn't have to do that, though. I'm glad. Well, at least
you don't ever want to do that.
I got 8 years before I have to worry about that. Unless I go for a passport, then I might need it.
Oh
my gosh!
For a passport.
All right, well, I'll go to New York and just sit and wait. You
don't want to do it.
I'll get a drone. All right, thank you. Appreciate the call. All right, let me take a break. We'll be right back.
The weather is brought to you by myfwc.com. Safe boating is no accident. Areas of low clouds and fog, followed by some sunshine on this Monday. The high 76 to 80. And Monday night will be partly cloudy, low 54, and then 60 along the coast. Sun and clouds warm and more humid with an afternoon shower around, high 78 to 82. For Wednesday, clouds and sun and very warm and humid, high 80 to 84. From the Florida Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Joe Lundberg.
Hi, this is JP from Penn Flooring here in Ocala. I would like to invite you to come in and visit our spacious showroom where we have solutions for every style and budget. From wall-to-wall carpet to hardwood floors and tiles, we have an unsurpassed selection of flooring. At Penn Flooring, we've provided quality customer service with a family touch for over 25 years. Visit our website at pennflooring.com or come by our showroom, 1201 Southwest 17th Street, just over the bridge. Penn Flooring, quality customer service with a family touch.
Don't get caught without your daily source of senior newspaper. It's your source for schedule and events tailored to seniors with information you need, like a list of free events in the area. We even have Tom's Picks, a free referral for people who are looking for a company to do work for them. Tom's Picks will refer the company to you that fits your needs. And all we ask in return is that you tell them where you heard about them. For more information, call Tom's Picks, 352-804-1223. And pick up your copy of The Senior's Voice at most any business up and down the 200 corridor.
Now read Ocala Downtown Newspaper online.
Hey, I'm Gary. And I'm Eric. Did you know that Red Eye Radio is on WOCA The Source every night from 2 to 6 a.m. and it's live?
That's right. No tape shows here.
We know that the news doesn't sleep.
And neither do we. So we're here with you live from 2 till 6 a.m. every weekday. Call us 866-90-RED-EYE. So join me, Gary McNamara.
And me, Eric Harley, every weeknight to discuss the latest in news and entertainment.
Right here on WOCA The Source.
If you or a loved one is suffering with knee, shoulder, neck or back pain, plantar fasciitis, peripheral neuropathy, elbow and would like to learn about how there are treatments that may benefit you, go to drjuanyordan.com, then listen in on the first and third Thursday at 10 a.m. and hear from health professionals doing these treatments and patients who have benefited from them. First and third Thursday at 10 a.m. Next Generation MD, right here on The Source.
Palm Garden wants to get to the heart of the matter. If you've been in the hospital as a cardiac pacemaker or congestive heart failure or an arrhythmia, or perhaps you're a heart bypass patient, then consider Palm Garden as your rehab choice. With proven outcomes second to none, Palm Garden fixes broken hearts. Call today at 854-6262. That's 854-6262.
Ocala's information station, 1370 WOCA.